some just idiotic, stupid dog. So sometimes I get a little bit, perplexed. But the fifth take jumps ahead after some of the controversy has been smoothed over and some sore feelings have been soothed. And the man, he's trying to bring the writer girl back into the fold. I wouldn't say that her career's been, I don't know that she's that crucial to us. She took a stand and she gave us what you would say, it put us on a higher ground, so to speak. She helped us achieve something a little bit higher understanding. But as far as her comeback, don't call it a comeback, folks, because it's more of a never was. I mean, this girl, she's not bringing that much. The man took her out to dinner to try to soothe her over, and because he's already completely infatuated. And this latest string of events where she beleaguered me, and the man kind of stayed out of it, but he didn't really take up for me that much. But, so she doesn't really know that he's probably, he has a lot more, whatever you say, inner guilt or angst over some of the thinking he's done in the past. That's that thing that Ron DeSantis is trying to stomp out. He doesn't want people to have to feel any guilt inside themselves for what they used to be or what they used to do. But you got to have a little bit so that you don't keep doing it. I mean, you can't have one without the other. It's the yin and the yang theory. But, he's bringing her out to dinner and he's falling even more. And it's like the Sam and Diane thing, because they had a little bit of controversy, or because there was controversy that she was a part of. He was a part on the other side. He was like a silent, talk about passive aggressive. He was a silent aggressive, but now that made him fall even in love with her even more. That whole thing, that tension, it drew him even closer to her than it ever had before. He noticed her more. He can fall in love with her beauty even more, because before she was just like this thing that he was projecting his own image on. Now, because she's, fought for herself, fought for her ideals, there was a lot of controversy, there was yelling and screaming. He had to study her a little closer. Now he sees the real writer girl. And, she's 43, so I wouldn't say a girl, but a writer woman. You'd probably call her like a writer Frau, maybe. But so he's trying to patch things up. He's trying to bring her back in the fold. He's discovering another thing he loves about her. She likes to have a nice, strong cocktail before a light dinner, and then they like to finish with either port or cognac. So the man, he's like, this is a match made in heaven. Wait till I get this girl back to my manor house. The man's talking about dusting the manor house and cleaning up a little bit so that when he breaks out all that expensive booze that's down in their giant cellars, this girl's going to be impressed. She's not going to think it's like the Addams Family. She's just going to think it's really old school, but she's going to enjoy the quality of the spirits. But as they're discussing, when the man come home, he told me as they're discussing during their meal, she's trying to start making pitches. That's when he realized that she's coming back in the fold, and she's saying, like, I've got some great ideas, and they're from, like, the woman's perspective. Like, for instance, how come in all the movies or all the sitcoms, no one ever has to clean up after themselves? Not everybody's the royal family. You can't have all your Christmas crap laying every which way and everything thrown hither and yon, and like 2 or 3 maids come in after everybody departs the giant parlor room. That's not how it works in real life. How come people, they're never doing their own dishes, they're never mowing their own lawn? I know a lot of people don't do that, but, you got to wash a dish every once in a while. Even rich people wash a few cups and saucers, you know what I'm saying? You can't have a cup of coffee and not wash the dish. But I was saying to the man, I said, that's the same thing she's always coming up with. And the man said, well, so then she hit me with this Jerry Seinfeld thing. I said, Jerry Seinfeld? I didn't think she was that old. How did she come up with Jerry Seinfeld references? And he says, well, she says during dinner, it's like you never see Jerry Seinfeld in the Seinfeld program worrying about, did I pay a bill late? No one's ever worried, did I forget to pay that bill? No one actually lives in reality. Everybody else has to struggle and go along. It's like, she says to the man, and the man told me, she says finally right in the restaurant, she goes, she's like, Robert Kraft, he can't even tug himself off. He's got to go into the massage parlors and have, pay somebody to tug himself. Regular people can tug themselves off every once in a while, but Robert Kraft, he's got to go have, and it's always a little bit, a little shady. It's always like the same kind of girl that's been sex trafficked into being a tug off stressed, the girl said. the writer girl said to the man. And the man is like, yeah, I could see that. Why isn't Robert Kraft, he's got to pay somebody to do that? But the man said, the truth of the matter was, right then and then, the man started to be a little bit more lukewarm to the writer, as if, from a professional standpoint, like maybe she's not the greatest writer in the world. And then he immediately started to think, I wonder if I could get this writer girl, or I wonder if she's thinking like me, that this is a tug-off situation coming up, that the man was praying to God that the writer was going to give him, a little bit whatever. But, as far as I was concerned, I was kind of thinking that I didn't know what would be better, if we hang on to the writer girl, or if the writer girl just, whatever. But I think the man, he's clinging. And I know why he's clinging. He's got a lot of hopes for the future.